Hello and welcome to a brand new series of lessons on Valse and Skai by Roland Dyens. We're diving into the first section of this fantastic piece, checking out all the right hand hacks and left hand fingering you need. This is going to develop your right hand fine control to a professional level. You need a lot of it to control the basses and all the stops and starts Dyens has put in here. So let's dive into Roland Dyens Valse and Skai Part 1. Welcome to the first micro study of Valse and Skai by Roland Dyens. So we're going to cover fingerings, left hand, 0, 1, 3, hammered on at 2 and 4, 0, 1, 2, hammered on at frets 2 and 3, and 0, 1, 2 again. Same frets on the next string. All played with the thumb. I'm using rest strokes at the moment. Once you get it up and running, you will be using just a normal thumb stroke. You can do your rest strokes, but only later on. I'll explain why in a minute. On top of that, or underneath that, we have open strings on. And messes with the time, as usual. It's lovely, classic Roland Dyens. We've got quavers. But because we're in triplet time, they're offbeat. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So be very, very aware of that. The last thing to add to this, Roland has been very, very specific about this. This is not meant to be this. It starts on a double P, with the melody notes sticking out above that. And then the last 3 notes before we get into the next micro study are open, 1, 2 at frets 1 and 2 with a D sharp and E. So putting that all together nice and slowly, it looks a little bit like this. Section. Main tip here is just you are going to have a lot of right hand control to make sure that this does not pop out, and then left hand you're going to have to hammer on fast to push the energy up the string, not hard. It's about speed, not strength. Welcome to the next micro study. Now I'm going to be 100% honest, straight off the bat you are going to be required to do a lot of damping, both right hand and left hand. The notes can be played entirely 2 or 3 different ways here. I'm going to show you Roland Dyens' fingering first, and then I'm going to show you my fingering hack that I use, and then I use both. So first off, we've got an open A. We then have a B and C together, not an open B, down to an A at the 7th fret. So the B is actually fret 9 into fret 7 for the A. Why? Because if you look at the score very carefully, Roland has specifically said the C hangs on, the B cuts short. So this is where your damping and left hand control comes in. So I'm actually using left hand control and taking my little finger off and putting my second finger down. Now, before that all happens, you need an open A, and the open A has to stop at the B and C together. So if you notice my right hand, can you see I'm damping? And then my left hand comes off at the same time. I suggest you make a micro study out of that on its own. This pops up a lot, and it pops up with extra variations, so you're going to have to get this down. I do remember learning this and it taking forever, but once I got it done and I was happy with it, and I could control my A's and I could control my B's and my left hand and my right hand, it was in. Okay, so that was that bar there, which is bar 5. He then moves it to 6th string. You move up a fret to 6 and 10 and 8 with your second finger. This entire thing gets repeated. Before we move into the main melody section. Alternate fingering. It is possible to play it with an open B and leave them hanging on so that there's no B staccato, which is very clearly indicated in the score. And it's the same possible for the G sharp and G into the F. So the alternate fingering is 1 on a C at 5th fret, 3 on the A at 7, and then 1 on the G sharp at 6th fret, 3 on the F at 8. Either way, you still need to stop the bass, so do not do this. It has to be this. And then into that next section. Last point. So Dyens has been very clear. This is loud. This is an echo. So you again come back to right hand fine control for your volume. There is a lot going on in this short micro study. I suggest you do it 1 bar at a time and work on damping right hand, damping left hand, putting them together, and then volume before you kick in. Okay, welcome to the beginning of the A section. That was all the introduction done and dusted. We have this wonderful melody. Before it goes back into this lovely little answering phrase. Now, underneath the melody we have open strings again, A, and the accompaniment, E. Half bar at 5, 1 and 3, 6 and 7. Add the melody note in, so it's and here we have 4 on the G to a 2 F natural, open string. Bass note. Answering phrase. Back into the melody again. So yet again we have loads of fine control. Basses have to be stopped. Accompaniment is very clearly marked. That is left hand and right hand control there. This is, in every measure, a very advanced piece. You're going to have to level up your fine control for both hands. From a damping perspective, it is this. Finger stop, bass stop. Finger stop, bass stop. Bass and fingers together. Left hand damping. Right hand, left hand. Back in. There is a lot there. There is no two ways about it, so I suggest you work on 1 set of fingers at a time. Just work on. And hopefully with a bit of luck you've already got that under you, that little answering phase under your fingers, so it's not a problem. This then gets repeated again. The melody section gets repeated again. Before we move into a series of chords, which we'll check out in a second down at the 3rd fret. Everything here in this entire opening should scream right hand, left hand fine control. If you're not damping the basses, if you're not getting that lovely waltz feeling with the staccato, that is what you're aiming for. Right hand, fine control with left hand. Put it all together, it sounds like this. once you have that and you can play it like that, the next and fine detail layer to add is volume. This is quiet. Mezzoforte. MP. So you then back to being able to play loud and soft with your right hand again. Lots and lots of fine details to this piece. This piece is going to improve your right hand and technique and attention to fine detail fantastically. On top of which you're able to play a very, very, very cool melody. Okay, so we are kicking off now at a bar 15. Again, we have open A and E, but then we're moving into G, and then into a fantastic, Dyens loves this chord. So we've got a G minor with a sharp 13 over an A bass to move us into D minor 7. So it's a cadence. From a fingering perspective, I am using 4, 3, 2 on the G major. Notice pre-preparing 1 on the C sharp. Here we need to be careful, and Dyens has been very specific. When you hit the next bar, your right hand has to damp the A. So that A has to get damped so it does not ring over. So next bar, bar 17, we're looking at D, G with the 4th finger, 1 and 2 on A and C, half bar into the F. This is then going to slide up to C sharp again, G in the bass. This is a chord Dyens loves. It pops up in Libre Sonorantine and a couple of his other pieces. F natural with the 3rd finger, open G. All fingers on, release into what is effectively a C with an F. And here we get our first test. You're going to have to hammer on your 4th finger, so it's an open G and D, onto the 3rd fret for an F, into that E and G. So altogether, this little section looks like this. From a right hand perspective, it's pretty much the same with this entire piece. My A finger is doing a lot of the heavy lifting on the melody. And then I'm using a combination of P, I, and M for the chords. So to begin with, P, I, and M, P and M, P and I, A, I, M, A, P, M, P and I, P, I, and M. P and A, P, I, P, I, M. And then the next one is going to be P and M. Slowly practice it, dampen the basses, control the fingers, and know which chords you're going to. Let's check out the next set of chords in this. Welcome to bar 20. So we left it off here. First finger on an F, open B, and then 2 and 3 on the F and A, going into a bar for the C. We then have an F sharp with the open B string again, 1 and 3 for D sharp and A, half bar, again on the C. We then go into an A and B. Right, so this is where things get a little bit hinky, bar 22. Open A, 1 and 4 on the D sharp and A, 3 on the B, 2 on the C. Open B with an F natural again. This time we have open D, which is notated as a C double sharp, with staccato into 2 and 4 for D sharp and A. 22 and 23 are quite complex fingering. You're going to have to do them slowly. There's no two ways about it. It's exactly as Dyens has notated it. I'm not messing with his fingering there because there's no other way to play those very, very unique, crunchy chords. A couple of points to note. I'm not going to go over the right hand again because, again, it's pretty much the same as before. I'm using a combinations of P, I, and M, and then A when it needs to, but pretty much it is P, I, and M doing the heavy lifting. Dyens has been very clear about this B string over the F. It has to ring on. Here's what it looks like in slow motion. And then we're into the tag bar, which we'll have a look at in a second. Quick interruption here. I hope you're enjoying this lesson. If you are, consider hitting the like button and maybe even subscribing to the channel. There is a ton of new content exactly like this coming your way. Brand new advanced material. I am here to help you get it under your fingers. Get in ahead of the queue, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's dive back into Valse and Skai. Okay, welcome back to the waltz. We have a little tag of the opening material. The B is hung on, hopefully, and you should have a G sharp on with your first finger, and then it's going to be hammer on with 2 and 4 this time. Then 3 and 2 with an open E, and then you're going to slide up string 5 to get the D, D sharp and E. You're not playing it here because you have to be in the next bar for a high B, so it's impossible to do. Well, it's not impossible, it just doesn't sound as good. So this bar looks like, and we're back in. Now, back into the melody. I'm just going to play through this. First set of variations. So here you are going to have to use fingering by Dyens. We have a double B. I'm using I and M. M, I, bass, normal. Back into melody. Variation. So the melody here, it's just a pull off into M and I for E and C. And again, notice I'm controlling my bass. So we get bar 30. It is a hammer on with 2 to 4 before we go back into those wonderful chords. Altogether, this looks like this. And again, there's fantastic right hand control required here, but again, you've got to be aware of the variations as we move through. This is key to learning this piece. From bar 24. Stopping my bass, making sure it's not ringing over the A and E, and we're into the next set of chords, which we've already done. No change. Change, bar 35, and we'll have a look at this as we move into the next section. Right, welcome to the next micro study. We left it off at bar 35 with an high A, open E. You are going to be playing half bar across fret 2, and you're going to be moving it up. I deviate from Dyens' fingering here. This is Dyens' fingering, so he wants this. It's possible to do it as a half bar. And that is how I do it. So you have options there for 35 into 36. Bar 36, D sharp over an A. So again, you've got to stop that bass. So my right hand is doing dampening. 2 and 3 on the G and C sharp. And then your first finger has just got to squish in to get that A. There's no other way of doing that. So those two bars together look like this. Next bar, 37, we have E to F sharp, half into a bar at 9, or half bar at 9, it's your call. I'm using fingers 2 and 3 on the F and A. Finger 1 obviously is covering the E between them. Both finger stretches out. Then you are going to go into a full bar at 7. Stretching out, because you're going to need that high D. You have an A, a D sharp, and down to a C natural. This is where your left hand now has to kick in. Pull back on your bar chord. Don't squeeze, because it's a really difficult chord. We have D sharp with the first finger, D natural with finger 4 into a C. And then we're going to go into finger 4 for the B again. Okay, bar 39, we're looking at A and D with B. So I'm using fingers 2 and 3 there for the A and D. Finger 1 on the F. All rings over. Finger 2 moves up to an E. And then we have G sharp. We have the first sort of jokey clash here. This is where Dyens' fantastic humor comes in. I have done it differently, so I'm going to give you Dyens' fingering. So Dyens' fingering first for bar 40 is 3, 2, and then he goes up to a 2. I just use 2, 1 for the G sharp, and then holding it on and down. So I squish my second finger in. I sometimes, if I'm 100% honest, I let that G sharp go a little bit. It's a staccato on the last note, and then we're into the next video. Lots and lots and lots to do there. Take it slowly, take your time, be very clear about which aspect of it you're working on. Get your notes off the page first, get them under your fingers, then start working on, say, right hand damping, then look at your left hand damping, and then last but not least, have a look at the fine detail that Dyens has built into this piece. Volume control, staccato. Thank you very much for staying until the end. This has been brought to you by ClassicalGuitarRocks.com, my site where I am giving away pretty much most of these lessons free. If you want to support the site, there are study guides available to buy, which helps keep all of this content flowing on YouTube. So if you're looking for some 6th string inspiration today, head over to ClassicalGuitarRocks.com today.